KENITHA, we've been dating for 2.5 years now. Started in October 2018. Our first date at the Capital City Comedy Club. And this first date went a little different, meaning I didn't actually sit with her. She was actually out on a girls' night, so it was more of a meet and greet type of date. Actually seeing her walking down the hall, she was actually buying some drinks. So when I got a glimpse from the side, I was like, yeah, that looks like the picture. And then I got more of a better view as she turned. And I was like, oh yeah, like, okay, I made a good decision this time. Really kind of made me smile because I was like, yeah, I'm not catfished. Second date, we actually went bowling right here in Pflugerville at Spare Time Lanes. So first thing we came up and met, gave each other a good hug. She had said, oh, you give the best hugs. And so that made me feel real special. I had warned her that I had been bowling in probably a year, maybe a year and a half. And she said, no judgment, just go ahead. And the reason why, because she told me bowling was one of her favorite things. So I was like, I can't come here and get my behind kicked. And so I went up first and I was just like, Lord, be with me. And so I rolled the first ball and what you know, it's a strike. So she's like, oh, you lied to me. And I was like, no, that's just the first one. That's the lucky strike that you get. And then I went again the second time and I bowled a strike again. And I'm like, oh, Lord, you showing out for me today. Because I was like, I can't remember the last time I even bowled 2 strikes in a row, yet alone 2 in a game. So it seemed weird that day. Wasn't many people in there. So we really got to engage and talk, not with a lot of sound and loudness around us. And we really got to have a good in-depth conversation, learning about each other and each other's background. Very early on, Zachariah was the first one I met coming through the door. It's kind of funny, he's being the man of the house, and he's like, hey, how you doing? You Mr. Chris, right? And I believe he had a game in his hand as a tablet or iPad of some sort. And so he had shook my hand, and then little Zaya, she was kind of hiding back there behind her mom, shy like most little girls. And but eventually over time of me coming over a lot, the kids grew very fond of me. I grew fond of them. They liked hanging out with me and their extracurricular activities. So we just continue to grow a bond. And just over time, she was always there for me. And the biggest thing with KENITHA was she was always patient. I know there were times where I probably didn't move as fast on things that she would desire, or just me and her have different backgrounds, doing things in different ways. But she was always patient with me and us learning each other and being able to just compromise on certain subjects if we did disagree or didn't have the same mindset. And the biggest thing we'd always would say was we may have a different mindset or path, but we're always having the same end goal in mind. And that's what's so great with our relationship. KENITHA, I want you to take this video and use it as a timestamp in life. And at some point we go down memory lane and take a look back at this video, and we can laugh, cherish our memories, and still look at our growth and love that we have amongst each other, and looking forward to just continuing our life in a lifetime beyond what we can imagine with each other. I love you. So you already realized you said this is where our first date was, right? So I brought you here today just to travel down memory lane. And just as you said, this was where our first date was. I remember approaching the doors, and I had texted you letting you know I was here, but I don't think you responded. So I was like, oh man, she about to set me up. But then I seen why as I was approaching the door, you were getting drinks. And so I was like, okay, yeah, she looks like she does in the pictures. I was like, okay, great. I remember you had a short bob cut. I believe it was a tan shirt, an olive color throwover, jeans, and some boots. And so I was like, okay, she's rocking it. But it was very different because we didn't get to sit together. I know it was more like we was on a girls' night out, but it was still special because afterwards, you came out and met me, we talked, one of the greatest hugs ever. And then you even introduced me to your aunt. And as we've grown, you told me how much you respect her and high level. And so that was special for me that you introduced me, because most people probably wouldn't do that. But that's what I wanted you to notice, and this is our first date. Yeah. And I believe it was right here when we talked, and it was cold outside.
It was.
But yes, you remembered it already, so you ready?
Of
I gotta go to another place for you.
Okay.
So, if you remember, what was this, our third date, I would say. Remember, you was very competitive. You told me up front that you was going to put a whooping on my behind in pool. I think I did lose once and I won once. I remember we had a good time laughing and talking as we ate. I can't quite remember what we had. I believe you had some wings. It's like your favorite, so I'm pretty sure you had wings. I probably had chicken tenders. But it was real funny, especially when we were playing ping pong. It was kind of like, it's a dead moment because we were just playing, but at the same time, it was like we was really getting to know each other, had a lot of deep conversation, and I think that's where we really kind of opened up to start our relationship. So this is just another place down memory lane.
I remember this place.
So yes. But do you have anything to say about it?
I just remember when I kept beating you in ping pong.
Yeah.
You got mad and didn't want to play no more.
I do remember that. You kept hitting the ball. I was missing this going all over the floor. So, okay. All right. I got one more place to take you to.
Okay.
And then we'll be ready to go back home. So, do you remember this place?
No, I do.
This was a great one right here. This was like our first date that we were actually like just me and you alone. It's funny, like I said that day at the bowling alley, it's like no one was really in there. It was just like me and you, had like a movie or something.
Right.
But what really intrigued me was that, most of the time the stereotype is women are late. So I was kind of a couple minutes late that day, but you were already there. The lane was paid for, reserved, and the shoes were there. So I was like, oh man, this is real bad. And it's like you was just sitting there. And then you had already put the names in. And you told me I had to go first. I was like, oh man. So I was like, Lord, please be with me. Because I was like, I haven't bowled in a year. I was like, I didn't want to embarrass myself. We too old for the gutters. So I was like, So I go up and I bowl, strike. And you start laughing. It's like, oh, you lied to me. And I was just like, oh, the Lord with me today.
He was good.
And then you did yours. I think you had like a spare or something. And then the very next bowl, I got a strike again. I was like, oh, the Lord's showing out today. But it was a real fun day. And then I said I was going to pay for the food, so I made sure we did that and got drinks. But overall, we had a good little hour and a half together. And it was very special to me. That's what leads us to where we're at today. I want to give you a hug. Ready to go?
Yes.
Who made the first move? Number two, who's the most romantic? Number four, who initiate the first kiss? Number five, who planned the first date? Number seven, who's planning the honeymoon? Who put this question on here? Honeymoon, huh? Hey. Ooh, this is a good one right here. Number 11, who's the patient one?
KENITHA. I don't know about that one. Chris, I say Chris. Yeah, Chris.
All right, you can do it. So what do we think for number one? Who made the first move?
I did.
You did? Number two, who's the most romantic?
Chris.
That's probably who initiate the first kiss?
Chris. Because you don't even know me.
Who was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was it? Was it me?
Who was it? It was me.
Probably was you. Yeah, I see. Or you want to both tell?
Yeah. we
Okay.
can both tell
Go ahead.
together. So today today he took us on a tour, basically to all of our first dates. So the first place that we went to was the comedy club, and when we pulled up, he parked, and at first I'm just looking in the parking lot like, what are we doing? Because it's kind of empty, and the comedy club is closed. And then I was like, oh, this is where we had our first date. And he started laughing. He was like, yeah, I got to get mic'd up because he's been telling me that we're doing an interview or doing something for
Couples.
Your project. So then he took me out of the vehicle and we walked up to the comedy club and he asked me some questions about what I remember about our first date. And he can tell me exactly what my hair looked like, what I was wearing that day, why that day was special or why he remembered that day. So then we got in the vehicle and then we went to our second date. It could have been our second or third date, but one of the places that was most memorable where we had the most fun. We both are like really big kids. So we went to, what was it called? What's the name of the place?
Fast Eddie's.
Fast Eddie's. And you could play pool, Connect Four, ping pong, tic-tac-toe.
Right.
So we just in there all day playing like big kids. So we went there, and then our last place was the bowling alley where he was late because he takes all day to get ready.
Yeah, she was actually there ready on that date, sitting at the lane with the bowling shoes on and waiting with my bowling shoes as well. So I had to figure out something to get it right since that was our first date. And so, of course, she made me bowl first. And so I hit a strike first. I was like, ooh, thank God. Like, I got something to, positive note on the start. And so then she went, I think she got a spare. And I turned around, I got another strike in a row. So I'm like, man, he's showing out for me today because that doesn't never happen after you've been bowling, and haven't been bowling for a year. So it started off good as a good impression.
It did, because I'm really competitive. You know that. Patrice will be like, nah, I don't want to play with you no more. I'm really competitive. So when he went up there and he got that strike, because at first I'm thinking like, it's nothing. So then I really had to step my game up, and he beat me. Then we went and, played at the arcade, did laser tag. I broke my sandal.
That's right.
I was so embarrassed.
She had to ride my back out.
Yeah.
So
he picked me up, carried me to my car.
So that is what we did today. Just one more part. I wanted to play you a song to let you know how I feel.
Okay.
And then I have one more question for you.
All right.
You say you'll be down in 5.
Say what? No, I'm not singing. No, I'm not singing. You don't want me to sing. I found one. See, I knew you would like it.
It's a good song.
Sorry, I found it. But that was just something I wanted to let you know how I feel. And since we have everyone here, we've been dating for 2.5 years, going on 3. And so today I want to know, will you marry me and will you be the love of my life? Hold on. We ain't hear you, we ain't hear you.
Yes, babe.